Number 1. The first truth of betrayal. People like to believe betrayal is rare, accidental, or committed only by monsters. But Machiavelli understood a truth far colder than your comfort can tolerate. Every human being carries the seed of betrayal inside them, and the moment circumstances demand it, that seed grows into action. People betray not because they are evil, but because loyalty is weaker than desire, weaker than fear, weaker than opportunity. What most men call trust is nothing more than a temporary alignment of interests. The day your interests and theirs stop matching, their mask will fall, and you will see the quiet animal beneath. Listen carefully. Betrayal is not a deviation of human nature. It is human nature. If you understand this, you stop expecting purity from people. You stop being surprised when someone switches sides. You stop breaking when someone walks away. You become untouchable. Machiavelli warned that a man who relies on loyalty walks willingly into a trap, but a man who relies on his eyes, his judgment, and his readiness to act is never caught off guard. So learn to read motives the way a surgeon reads wounds, without emotion, without fantasy, without mercy. Ask yourself, what does this person truly want? What do they fear? What do they gain by standing with me? And what might they gain by turning against me? This is not paranoia. It is psychological clarity. The world is not kind enough for innocence and not structured enough for idealism. If you want to rise above betrayal, you must first accept that it will come. It always does. But the prepared mind does not break. It sharpens. And when you master this understanding, betrayal becomes your warning, not your downfall. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 2, the anatomy of a traitor. A man does not betray you in a single moment. He betrays you in stages, quietly, internally, long before the final strike. Machiavelli taught that every betrayal begins with a calculation, a weighing of outcomes, a subtle shift in allegiance inside the mind. The traitor rehearses the act in silence first. He tests the idea in his thoughts. What if I walk away? What if I take more for myself? What if he becomes weak and I no longer need him? This mental rehearsal is the birthplace of treachery. Then comes the second stage, emotional distancing. He stops admiring you. He stops fearing you. He stops needing you. His respect fades, and with it, the final thread holding his loyalty together snaps. But the most dangerous stage is the third, justification. Humans cannot betray without telling themselves a story that makes them the hero. They will convince themselves you deserved it, that they were forced, that they were protecting themselves, that it was necessary. Once a man convinces himself of this narrative, betrayal becomes inevitable. Understand this. People betray when they believe the reward outweighs the cost, and they stay loyal only when the cost of betrayal is too high. This is why Machiavelli insisted that a wise man keeps his power sharp and visible, not to oppress others, but to remind them that switching sides carries consequences. Betrayal is a psychological equation. Change the variables, and you change the outcome. Raise the price of disloyalty. Decrease the reward. Watch how suddenly loyalty returns. This isn't cruelty, it is survival. A man who understands the anatomy of a traitor never fears betrayal. He anticipates it, shapes it, and controls it. Now you're beginning to see the world as it truly is. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 3, desire, the hidden engine of betrayal. If you want to understand why humans betray, you must study desire, not loyalty, not morality, not promises. Desire. Machiavelli knew that a man's true master is whatever he craves in the dark, whatever he thinks he deserves but doesn't yet have. Desire bends principles. Desire rewrites morals. Desire turns loyalty into a temporary performance. Every betrayal, no matter how dramatic, begins with a simple hunger. It could be power, status, validation, freedom, recognition, revenge, or even the thrill of breaking the rules. Humans betray because desire whispers to them, "You could have more, if only you let go of him." And that whisper grows louder until it becomes a command. Here is the truth most people refuse to accept. A person's loyalty lasts only as long as you remain the strongest path to their desires. Lose that position, and you lose them. This is why the Machiavellian mind never begs for loyalty. It engineers desirability. It becomes too useful, too respected, too feared, too resourceful to betray, because when betraying you means losing access to power, knowledge, stability, or protection, even the most ambitious traitor backs down. But never forget this: desire changes. What keeps a man loyal today may not keep him loyal tomorrow. That is why the wise remain unpredictable, improving themselves, expanding their value, sharpening their influence. A static man is easy to betray. A growing man is dangerous to betray. Understand desire, and you understand the entire machinery of betrayal. You will see it forming long before it strikes. And most importantly, you will stop blaming yourself for the disloyalty of people whose desires outgrew you. Their betrayal is not your failure. It is their nature. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 4, fear, the silent trigger behind every betrayal. If desire pulls a man toward betrayal, then fear pushes him into it. Fear is one of the strongest currencies in human psychology, and Machiavelli understood its value better than anyone. A man who fears losing his status, losing his comfort, losing his chance, or losing his relevance becomes unpredictable. He becomes dangerous. Fear bends loyalty faster than desire ever could. The moment someone believes standing beside you threatens their survival, physical, emotional, or social, they will abandon you without hesitation. Humans betray when they feel cornered, when they sense danger, when they believe you no longer protect them, but endanger them. This is why the Machiavellian mind never allows itself to become a burden. Power protects, weakness invites rebellion. But here is the darker truth. People don't only fear loss, they fear your strength too. They fear your ambition, your growth, your rising dominance. And when that fear grows unchecked, betrayal becomes a preemptive strike. They will betray you just to stop you from becoming someone they cannot control. This is the psychology of the insecure, the envious, the threatened. Understand this duality. If you are weak, people betray you to escape you. If you are strong, people betray you to weaken you. So what does a wise man do? He creates calibrated fear, not terror, not cruelty, but strategic strength. Enough to discourage disloyalty, not enough to provoke rebellion. You must appear powerful but fair, dominant but stable, sharp but calm. A man who radiates controlled strength becomes too risky to betray and too valuable to lose. This is the art of balancing perception, a weapon more precise than any sword. When you master fear, you master the triggers of betrayal itself. And once you control the triggers, you control the people. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 5, opportunity, the moment betrayal is born. Every betrayal waits for its perfect moment, a quiet opening, a shift in power, a moment of weakness, a crack in your armor. Opportunity is the oxygen that betrayal breathes. Machiavelli warned that men do not stay loyal when the door to greater advantage swings open. They walk through it without looking back. Opportunity transforms thoughts into action. It turns silent resentment into open rebellion. It gives courage to cowards and ambition to bystanders. The truth is simple. People betray when they believe they can get away with it when the cost is low, when the punishment is unlikely, when your guard is down, when your influence loosens. This is why the Machiavellian mind never shows all its vulnerabilities, never announces every plan, never relaxes to the point of predictability. Your unpredictability is your shield. Your consistency is your weapon. Your alertness is your throne. Understand this. Betrayals rarely happen when you are vigilant. They happen when you are distracted, comfortable, or naive. People study you more closely than you think. They watch your rhythms. They track your habits. They wait for you to slip. And when they see an opening, they strike with the confidence of someone who believes you cannot or will not retaliate. So what is the antidote? You reduce opportunity. You eliminate openings. You stay disciplined when others drift into laziness. You remain aware when others fall asleep. You keep your position strong, your value high, and your boundaries sharpened. When people see no gap, they retreat. When they see no advantage, they stay loyal. When they see that betraying you brings only loss, they fear even thinking about it. Opportunity creates traitors. The absence of opportunity creates respect. Master this principle, and you become a man who cannot be easily crossed. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 6, the mask. How betrayers hide in plain sight. A traitor never walks toward you with open hostility. He walks toward you wearing a smile. Humans do not betray as enemies. They betray as friends. This is why Machiavelli warned rulers to fear the man who flatters too easily, agrees too quickly, and praises too often. Excessive warmth is rarely sincerity, it is camouflage. The mask is their first weapon. They study your emotions, your insecurities, your blind spots. They mirror your values, your tone, your dreams. They make you believe you are understood, supported, protected. This is not loyalty. This is strategy. And the moment their goals change, the mask shifts with it. Betrayers are psychological shapeshifters. They adapt to whatever form grants them access to your guard. They listen not to understand you, but to map you. They comfort you, not to support you, but to soften you. They pretend to admire you so they can stand close enough to strike. The tragedy is that most people fall for this act because they crave connection more than truth. They mistake friendliness for loyalty, empathy for commitment, and attention for devotion. But the Machiavellian mind reads differently. It looks at patterns, not performances. It studies consistency, not charm. It watches what a person does when no reward is in sight. The mask slips the moment adversity hits. That is when the true face emerges. Either loyalty forged through character or betrayal born from convenience. Your task is simple. Learn to see the cracks in the performance. Watch how they react to your success. Watch how they behave when you set boundaries. Watch their tone when others praise you. A loyal man supports you. A jealous man tolerates you. A traitor prepares for the day he no longer has to pretend. When you master the ability to read masks, you become immune to false allies and untouchable by their schemes. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 7, envy, the poison that turns loyalty into hatred. No force corrodes loyalty faster than envy. It is the silent venom that turns admiration into resentment, respect into bitterness, and friendship into conspiracy. Machiavelli understood that envy is the true enemy of every rising man, because people do not hate your weaknesses. They hate your strengths. They hate your discipline, your ambition, your confidence, your growth. They hate the fact that you do what they cannot. And the moment your light becomes too bright for their comfort, they begin to plot in the dark. Envy doesn't speak openly, it whispers. It hides behind jokes, behind subtle criticisms, behind passive complaints, behind backhanded compliments. A man won't say he envies you. He will say you changed, that you got lucky, that you think too highly of yourself. These are not observations. These are warnings. Envy transforms people into saboteurs. They smile at your face and bleed you behind your back. They downplay your victories. They exaggerate your flaws. They celebrate your failures quietly, like a guilty pleasure. And the more you rise, the more they suffocate under their own comparison. The Machiavellian mind knows never to ignore envy. It is the earliest sign of betrayal. When you see someone fail to celebrate your success, distance yourself. When someone becomes uncomfortable with your progress, reduce their access. When someone listens closely but claps softly, cut their influence. You cannot fix envy. You cannot negotiate with it. You cannot redeem the envious. Their problem is not you. It is their own inadequacy. And a man who feels inferior will eventually try to make you fall just to feel equal. Understand this, and you will stop wasting your strength on unworthy allies. Rise boldly, but watch carefully. The higher you climb, the more invisible enemies you create. But with awareness, discipline, and controlled power, you become the man envy cannot touch. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 8, power. Why strength commands loyalty and weakness invites betrayal. Humans do not follow goodness. They follow power. This is the most uncomfortable truth Machiavelli revealed. And the one most people refuse to accept. Loyalty is rarely moral, it is strategic. People stay loyal to you when your strength benefits them and betray you when your weakness costs them. Power creates gravity. It pulls respect, obedience, admiration, and fear into your orbit. But the moment your power fades, your confidence cracks, your discipline slips, your influence weakens, people feel free to drift away. They betray because they think you can no longer stop them. That is why the Machiavellian man never allows his strength to become invisible. Power must be shown, not hidden. It must be felt, not whispered. You do not need to brag. Your actions, your consistency, your results must speak for you. When you carry yourself with calm dominance, when your boundaries are sharp, when your emotional control is unshakable, people instinctively think twice before crossing you. Weak men complain about betrayal. Powerful men prevent it. But here's the paradox. The more powerful you become, the more people will want to test you. They envy your position. They crave your influence. They want the respect you command effortlessly. This is why your strength must be consistent, visible enough to earn loyalty, controlled enough to avoid unnecessary enemies. Remember, you cannot stop people from desiring power, but you can stop them from believing they can take yours. A man protected by discipline is hard to betray. A man protected by competence is dangerous to betray. And a man protected by reputation is almost impossible to betray. Build your power every day through skill, through clarity, through silence, through strategy. Because power is not just protection, it is a message. If you betray me, you will lose far more than you gain. That is the language the world understands, and that is how you become untouchable. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 9, strategy. Outsmarting betrayal before it strikes. The most powerful men in history were not strong because they avoided betrayal. They were strong because they anticipated it. Machiavelli believed that a ruler's greatest weapon is foresight, the ability to see danger before it forms, to detect disloyalty before it speaks, to dismantle threats before they rise. Strategy turns betrayal from a surprise into a tool. You must learn to think 3 moves ahead. Never assume loyalty. Never assume silence means peace. Never assume proximity means safety. You must observe patterns, not promises. Watch how people act around opportunity, around competition, around pressure, around your success. A man's true nature emerges when his interests shift. The wise do not confront every potential traitor. Confrontation is loud and wasteful. Instead, they isolate, minimize, and outmaneuver. They deny information. They limit access. They break alliances quietly. They remove leverage without making noise. This is cold power, controlling the battlefield without revealing your hand. Strategy is not aggression, it is preparation. Be unpredictable enough to confuse your enemies and consistent enough to stabilize your allies. Keep some strength visible, some hidden. Reveal enough of your plan to inspire confidence, but never enough for someone to sabotage it. Your restraint will frighten fools. Your silence will unsettle the ambitious. A man who cannot predict you cannot betray you effectively, and a man who cannot understand you cannot manipulate you. Betrayal thrives in chaos, in weakness, in naivety, but it dies in the presence of a mind that watches everything and reveals nothing. This is how you walk through the world untouched, not by trusting blindly, but by preparing intelligently. A strategic mind is the ultimate shield. A strategic presence is the ultimate warning. And a strategic man is the one destiny does not dare to break. Remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Number 10, becoming untouchable, the final Machiavellian transformation. In the end, betrayal is not something you avoid. It is something you outgrow. The world does not change, you change. You stop expecting loyalty from the untested, honesty from the insecure, courage from the weak, and gratitude from the entitled. You begin to see people as they are, not as you want them to be. This is the birth of your power. Machiavelli believed that the strongest man is the one who understands human nature so clearly that nothing surprises him, nothing deceives him, nothing breaks him. When you understand why people betray, desire, fear, envy, opportunity, insecurity, you stop taking it personally. You stop collapsing under disappointment. Their actions no longer cut you, they reveal them. And revelation is strength. To become untouchable, you must build yourself into a man who cannot be destroyed by others, because everything you depend on lives inside you. Emotional control makes you unshakable. Discipline makes you irreplaceable. Silence makes you unreadable. Boundaries make you unmanipulable. And power, calm, focused, internal power, makes you unforgettable. The world respects the man who needs no validation, fears no abandonment, and bows to no pressure. When you reach this level, loyalty comes naturally, not because people are noble, but because betraying you becomes too costly. And even when someone does betray, it does not wound you. It exposes them and elevates you. This is the final stage of power. When betrayal cannot touch your purpose, your identity, your direction, you walk alone, but not lonely. You stand firm, but not rigid. You see clearly, but speak rarely. You move with purpose, but show nothing unnecessary. This is not coldness, this is mastery. The world becomes a chessboard, and you stop being a piece, you become the player. This is the Machiavellian transformation, where you rise above betrayal, not by avoiding it, but by becoming the kind of man no one can afford to lose, and no one is foolish enough to cross. If this monologue awakens something in you, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications.